Believe it or not, there's actually plenty of different animal species that have been lost to science over time, but one that has stuck out to me and many others amongst all the rest is the Washington sea eagle. Originally being described by the birding legend John James Audubon himself, there is plenty of mystery surrounding this once incredibly graceful creature. Everything from its size to if it even existed at all has all gone into question, and I'm here to try to solve the mystery today by discussing today what truly was Washington's bird and almost the symbol of America. The first sighting of this bird took place off the Mississippi River around the Great Lakes region in 1814. Audubon himself described this bird as being one of the most majestic and largest flying creatures he has ever seen. The eagle he observed was not just unique for its size, but according to him it was also unique in its proportions and its black beak, which wouldn't be present on most other eagle species. This bird was also unique in the lack of white feathers it had. As for comparison, golden eagles still tend to have some degree of white speckling on top of some white tail feathers, and even juvenile bald eagles, which are known for being primarily brown in color, typically have some degree of white speckling. But this was not at all present on Washington's eagle. Instead, Washington's eagle was almost entirely a solid brown with a copperish belly. Audubon himself actually believed that the bird's wingspan would have been at about 10 feet wide, making it one of the largest flying birds in modern day. And even his partner, who observed the same bird with him, described it as the Great Eagle, mainly due to its size and majesty. Still, despite Audubon's observation, a lot of people simply discarded his stories about such a majestic bird as being entirely fabricated. This is mainly because Audubon failed to gain any sort of physical evidence of the bird's existence beyond his testimony and the testimony of his partner. Back in the 1800s, and even still in modern day to a lesser degree, it is tradition to mostly gain some sort of physical evidence that the animal was alive before it could be properly considered a valid species. This back then would involve the killing of a specimen so its body could be analyzed. That way, by having a dead animal on the table, they could compare its anatomy to other well-known species. Thankfully, though, in modern day, we could simply use DNA sequencing in order to determine if an animal can be classified as a new species or not, which usually does not involve the killing of an animal. But back then, this option simply wasn't available for Audubon and his team. That's why so many of those awesome museums with all the dinosaur bones typically have a bunch of dead birds in their back lot. While it may be tragic, it is also very important for science that we are able to study physical specimens, including unfortunately those that have passed on. But Audubon initially decided not to shoot such a majestic bird, mainly due to its majesty and simply just his passion for the creature. While this eagle likely would have primarily preyed upon fish, when he realized just how big this bird was, it likely would have also fed upon many other larger animals and dead carrion as well. Heck, if a smaller golden eagle can do this, then I don't see why Washington's eagle couldn't have had performed something very similar if it wanted to. For comparison, the bald eagle on average typically has a wingspan of up to 6 feet wide, though it could vary a lot depending on where they are found. In contrast, Washington's sea eagle likely would have been about twice the size of our modern day bald eagles, having a wingspan much more close to that of the massive Andean condor than to that of the modern day bald eagle. Despite Audubon's clear descriptions of the bird, he was still mocked when he returned with his findings due to his lack of evidence of the bird's existence. This would lead to Audubon dedicating multiple further expeditions, all just to verify that the magnificent bird that he found was more than just a fairy tale. In the end, he did rediscover this bird again, but in another location, actually in the Ohio River Valley of Kentucky. Unlike America's modern-day eagles, the Washington's eagle was actually noted for nesting along cliffs, as Audubon himself would end up observing a nesting pair of these eagles during his expedition in Kentucky. Not just does the fact that they're nesting almost certainly prove that they were not juvenile bald eagles misidentified, but it also further provides evidence that they were a completely unique species, as it is extremely rare for bald eagles, let alone juvenile bald eagles, to be nesting along cliffs. While observing this mating pair, Audubon also noted that these birds had an incredibly unique flight pattern. Still, he wasn't able to successfully collect a specimen during his observation observations of this mating pair. He wouldn't actually succeed until 1920, where he was able to shoot one, which he caught by surprise while it was feeding on a pig carcass in the farmlands of Kentucky. Now, this is where the mystery and legend of the Washington sea eagle and John Audubon himself becomes incredibly interesting, but also confusing. Yet, before we talk about that, I try to make animal mini documentaries every single week, so if you're enjoying this video so far, then please feel free to give a like, subscribe, and press the little hype button thingy so I can continue to make more videos for you guys. So, getting back to the Washington sea eagle, what exactly happened to the specimen which Audubon collected? Well, the first thing he did was take notes of its physical attributes and actually measured its wingspan and weight. The bird itself weighed about 15 pounds, and it had the largest wingspan measured of any eagle, with its wingspan being about 10 feet 2 inches. The only known eagle that could have possibly gone larger was the host eagle, which was specifically known for preying upon human-sized moas and possibly even Maori children. The point is that this eagle was massive and even given an official scientific name. Audubon, of course, was very proud of this as he donated the specimen to a museum collection, though unfortunately this specimen would end up going missing, leaving Audubon's credibility still in question. While a handful of other people have claimed to have sighted the Washington sea eagle during Audubon's time when he was alive, Audubon was still the main person responsible for sighting this bird, and because of this, many people have accused him of completely fabricating the species' existence. Other people have also suggested that Audubon simply could have mistaken the Washington sea eagle for another already known species, such as the golden eagle or possibly another species of sea eagle that simply wasn't native to the area. But the problem with this theory comes in when you realize just how unique Washington's bird truly was. The coloration of its beak, legs, and feathers don't match that of any modern-day bird, including the golden eagle and juvenile bald eagles. Its anatomy was also completely different of any modern-day eagle, with it being noted as having 12 tail feathers instead of the usual 10 expected from most other eagle species. Regardless, after shooting one in 1920, Audubon would never end up seeing this eagle again, likely suggesting that the species did end up going extinct shortly after he shot the individual he needed in order to prove its existence. Now the Washington sea eagle belongs in the one of 6 birds Audubon described that still remain to be properly identified. While many of these other birds were most likely mislabeled morphs of currently known species, the Washington sea eagle remains unique from all the rest due to its distinct anatomy and grand size. While some still do accuse Audubon of making up this fairy tale in order to fund his expeditions, considering how credible of a scientist he was, it's very hard to say if he actually did this. Due to the fact that nobody was really taking any photographs back in the 1820s, verifying any sort of claims about any sort of potential extinct animals is an incredibly daunting task. With extinct birds especially, they can be very hard to verify if they've even existed, due to the fact that bird bones don't fossilize as easily, thanks to how hollow they are compared to other vertebrate groups' bones. On top of this, with over 2,000 bird species having been verified to have at some point in recent history lived in the United States, it's very possible that many of these different museums have simply gotten a lot of their specimens mixed up with each other, meaning that at least one taxidermy specimen of the Washington eagle might still be around hidden somewhere deep in the collections of a museum or possibly a private individual. Still, despite one person back in the 1800s having even claimed to have kept this species, the existence of Washington's eagle itself remains impossible to prove or disprove. The only thing about it that can be said with any sort of certainty is that it's no longer around due to the massive amounts of development that has occurred in the eastern half of the United States. Regardless, that doesn't mean it never existed at any point, and we should still remember that we also have 2 incredibly awesome eagles that still exist in America in modern day. So what do you guys think? Do you believe that Audubon was simply just a liar, or was the Washington sea eagle a truly magnificent bird that maybe with a lot of luck might still be hiding somewhere deep in the wilderness waiting to be rediscovered? Regardless, I'd love to hear all of your guys' opinions down in the comments below, and keep in mind I try to make animal mini documentaries every single week, so if you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, do all that stuff, because it all really helps me continue to make more epic videos for you guys. So hopefully I'll see you real soon. Goodbye.